What's up, investors? It's the Russian dude. As a result of lack of immediate response by Putin to Kursk incursion and growing dissatisfaction by the people of Russia, the media started speculating about the longevity of President Putin's rule. Some analysts predict an imminent end as early as in the next several months, while others believe his leadership will continue indefinitely, or better say, for as long as Putin lives, forcing the world to adapt accordingly. Today, let's talk about the impossibility to make these predictions accurately, why it is even wrong to make such predictions, and in case the change of power does happen in Russia, what is the most likely case scenario for it to happen. Political systems like Russia's exist in constant state of stable fragility, making it impossible to predict when or what will cause their collapse. To understand this paradox, we must first talk about the fundamentals of the Russian political regime. The Russian political system has mastered the ability to imitate being busy, responsible, and even created the illusion of need for some institutions. It is very interesting why a regime with such tight control would even bother holding elections that are mere shadows of democracy. But since the beginning of the war, the government, looks like, gave up on making the elections look real and stopped investing resources to make these pretty important events appear legitimate. If you have been following at least the basic electoral activities inside Russia, such as presidential elections or the so-called referendums to integrate newly captured Ukrainian regions, such as Kherson, Zaporozhye, Luhansk and Donetsk, you were already able to tell the results. Immediately, when these events were just announced, you already knew that Putin was going to win and that, yes, once again, Ukrainians living on these new territories will vote in favor of joining Russia. You knew that this would happen, your friends knew that this would happen, and not a single person in the entire world who at least heard about how Putin governs the country thought that the outcomes will be different. Any resemblance of competition was eradicated, there were no debates, the public was not asked what they think, and the authorities no longer attempted to dramatize the process beyond its true purpose. The manipulation of vote counts has become entirely state-controlled, rendering elections neither free nor fair. The political intrigue in Russia disappeared decades ago, which is yet another reason why not too many people of Russia care about anything that has to do with the politics. Candidates outside the ruling circle are not allowed to participate, and even those among Putin's personally approved candidates, they no longer campaign with the passion they should have. They understand that they are not going to win, and if they do try to win, they will be stopped before the whole thing begins, and, in the best case scenario, thrown out of the politics forever. Much better than being thrown out of the window, I guess. Debates, discussions and campaign advertisements have virtually disappeared. Government employees are forced to vote, while a significant portion of the population even remains unaware of upcoming elections at all. The week of the elections is when people realize that something is about to happen. And since they have neither time nor the will to research the candidates, the ones who were chosen to win always end up winning. Election monitors, surveillance cameras and media presence at polling stations have been systematically removed. The introduction of electronic voting has only worsened the situation, ensuring that the predetermined outcomes are met precisely. Here I'm talking about specifically Putin's favorite 80%. This brings us to another typical for Russia aspect, the existence of allegedly multi-partisan parliament filled with hundreds of members, and all of them serve the needs and fulfill the desires of one single person. Well, obviously Vladimir Putin. When was the last time you saw a fight in the Russian State Duma? Something what frequently happens in most other countries. These people must have the easiest job possible if you think about it. Come to so-called meetings where the outcomes and decisions are already decided for you. You don't even need to think or debate much. Just press the for or against button as instructed, and at the same time you can still enjoy the benefits of being a person in power. In a system where effective legislation originates solely from the presidential administration's legal department, the parliament serves little practical purpose. Public institutions that once held power have been stripped of their authority and purpose. Yet, the regime continues to maintain these structures, and the question is, why? The reason lies in the imitation of purpose that these institutions provide. They help the current political regime demonstrate its sustainability and stability, projecting an image of control over every aspect of governance. The illusion that they create is just that, an illusion. That Putin allegedly is so smart and aware of Russia's internal and external problems that every decision he proposes is a perfect one. Everyone votes in favor of such decisions, everyone supports Putin, so people might start having the perception that Putin is an ideal leader and nobody can do a better job than him. Speaking about the elections, once again, they are no longer competitions for public office, but orchestrated events to reaffirm the system's ability to achieve its desired results repeatedly. Take, for example, Alexander Beglov. Probably not too many people of you heard about him. He's a politician whose capabilities are widely questioned even in Russia. Despite doubts about his suitability even for minor administrative roles, his candidacy for governor of St. Petersburg, the second most important city in Russia, was approved by the presidential office, pretty much by Putin himself basically. So no wonder he won the elections and already yesterday took the office officially. Just like this, the decision was made, and everything was over before people could even have a chance to start asking questions. Such political system is designed to be close to outsiders and keeps the true state of affairs hidden from the public. At the same time, it engages in very specific activities to validate its existence and authority. Political power in such a context is defined by the government's ability to achieve its objectives without opposition. And even if the government authorities think about the need of people at first when making decisions, slowly but surely when there is no one to tell them no, such decisions become less about the people and more about what you want and what you need. On the other hand, open political systems often appear chaotic with frequent disagreements and sometimes even literal fights over political decisions, cabinet appointments, and budget allocations. Crises seem never-ending. The budget gets approved in the very last minute, and it feels like that the government is constantly working on the brink of collapse. Media outlets continuously highlight the flaws and shortcomings of those in power. And this transparency and possibility to critique the government creates an environment where issues are magnified and public involvement thrives on diagnosing and debating such problems. A closed political system cannot afford such openness. Acknowledging external issues could expose its vulnerabilities, leading to a loss of control. That is why it must protect an image of unwavering strength and stability. The moment the public becomes aware of systems' flaws, the entire structure risks collapsing. People know, or at least they suspect, that something is wrong. That system is rotten on the inside. But for as long as life is stable, you have friends and family, you are working and you can afford paying your bills and groceries, there is no immediate danger to your quiet, cozy life, people prefer to close their eyes on political games they are not even interested in the first place. They let the government do their job, whether they agree with them or not, as long as it does not affect their routines. And autocratic governments, they love this attitude. This necessity for constant affirmation explains why such regimes invest heavily in maintaining the facade of strength through controlled institutions and staged procedures. But nothing is forever. After all, even the Roman Empire collapsed. The most probable scenario for the end of such a regime is the inside coup. Elites may eventually conclude that the current leadership endangers their well-being, prompting them to orchestrate a change in power. However, the fundamental change with this scenario is its ultimate unpredictability. Any hint of a plot before its execution would result in severe consequences for the conspirators, including imprisonment or wars. After all, if the media or the public knows about the upcoming revolt against the regime, Putin and his security services already uncovered the plot months, if not years ago. That's why we almost never hear about such things. They almost always end before they can even begin. Conspirators suddenly start walking next to slippery open windows and drink suspicious liquids. If there is a coup to happen against Putin, all of us will hear about it after it happened. It is much easier to explain the change of power in such regimes after the fact. So, be on watch out for the news when Putin will go on a retreat to an unspecified location for an unidentified period of time. This is when things will get interestingly suspicious. Authoritarian systems excel in concealing internal dissent, making it nearly impossible to detect signs of an upcoming coup. But historically, significant regime changes have often appeared sudden, revealing in hindsight a series of previously overlooked hints. For instance, the Soviet Union's collapse is now analyzed through numerous contributing factors that seemed insignificant at the time. This unpredictability is evident in recent events like Yevgeny Prigozhin's mutiny in 2023, which exposed the system's fragility in unforeseen ways. He only needed a single division of soldiers to advance through Russia with little resistance, highlighting the lack of opposition from the military, law enforcement, propaganda machinery, or even the regular people themselves. Nobody tried or even wanted to stop them. It felt like everyone wanted to see what will happen if Prigozhin reaches Moscow. The only thing Putin's administration was able to come up with is to destroy the major roads which Prigozhin's soldiers were taking, because they knew people will not protect Putin and his power. So, at least, the roads can. Such incidents demonstrate that while an authoritarian regime may appear invincible, underlying weaknesses can lead to rapid and unexpected changes, and everything can collapse in less than a week. The life in Russia that seems normal today might be completely different next week. Well, there you have it, guys. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed today's episode. If you wish to support my work, there are links down below, PayPal donations, Patreon subscriptions for bonus content, and also you can find the full version of my outro song, Ridiculous Russian Propaganda. And also you can buy the Russian Dude merch. All the links are down below. Thanks so much for watching. See you tomorrow.
We won't succumb to their tricks, the facade they try to sell. Their twisted words and feeble claims on us all they cannot quell. We see through their lies, their feeble attempts to sway. We do not believe in ridiculous Russian propaganda.